Silence may be golden, they say, but in the wrong moments, silence can be the most dangerous weapon you wield in a world where injustice, miscommunication, and conflict thrive on passivity. Choosing silence isn't just about avoiding confrontation. It's about making a choice, and often that choice sides with oppression, wrongdoing, or the status quo. Have you ever stayed quiet because speaking up felt too risky? Maybe at work when a colleague was unfairly treated, or at home when outdated traditions clashed with your values. That silence didn't just protect your comfort, it became complicity. Today, we'll uncover 5 situations where staying silent is not only the wrong choice, but a betrayal of your integrity. These moments demand courage, clarity, and action principles deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. Before we begin, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you for the incredible support you've shown. It brings me so much joy to create these videos. And it's even more fulfilling to read your thoughtful and encouraging comments. I read every single one. If this is your first time here, please hit the like button and turn on notifications, so YouTube can help more people like you discover this content. Now ready to confront the power of your voice, let's dive in. Situation number 1. When injustice won. When injustice is happening. Injustice isn't just an abstract idea. It's a slow poison that seeps into the foundation of communities and relationships, eroding trust, dignity, and fairness. To remain silent in the face of injustice isn't neutrality. It's an active choice to let the poison spread. Unchecked, Stoic philosophy emphasizes justice as not just a virtue, but a responsibility. Marcus Aurelius poignantly stated, "What's not good for the hive is not good for the bee." This quote encapsulates the truth that allowing harm to persist anywhere within a community ultimately harms everyone within it, including those who stay silent. So why do we choose silence often? It's out of fear. Fear of confrontation, fear of retaliation, fear of standing alone. These fears, while deeply human, can paralyze us and make us complicit in the very harm we hope to avoid. Yet there's an irony in this silence. While it may feel like a way to preserve peace or avoid conflict, it almost always creates deeper chaos. Silence is a breeding ground for injustice, and injustice, like a festering wound, only grows worse when ignored. I learned this the hard way early in my career. A colleague of mine was unjustly blamed for a mistake they didn't commit. I knew the truth and I had the opportunity to speak up, but I hesitated, convincing myself that it wasn't my place and that intervening could jeopardize my position. The fear of standing out silenced me. Watching my colleague endure unwarranted criticism, ISM felt like watching a slow-motion betrayal, not just of them, but of my own values. The guilt of my inaction stayed with me, and I realized that by prioritizing my own comfort, I had failed them and failed myself over time. I learned that silence in the face of injustice is a betrayal, not only of the victim, but also of the integrity we claim to uphold. Fighting injustice doesn't always require dramatic gestures or heroic actions. Sometimes it's about the small but courageous moments: speaking the truth in a meeting, standing by someone when they're unfairly attacked, or simply refusing to be a bystander. These seemingly small acts ripple outward, fostering trust and empowering others to do the same. Stoic philosophy teaches us that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about acting in spite of fear. Injustice thrives when good people say nothing. Choosing silence might feel safe in the moment, but it undermines our character and enables harm to continue the next time you witness an injustice. Ask yourself, is my comfort more important than someone else's dignity? Is my fear of conflict worth the cost of allowing harm to go unchallenged? The lessons from this are clear. First, standing up against injustice builds moral character and strengthens the bonds of trust in a community. People remember those who defend what's right even when it's difficult. Second, our courage inspires others. Every act of standing up to injustice lights a path for others to follow. Lastly, silence can never buy peace. True peace comes from the presence of justice, not its absence. Remember, speaking out against injustice isn't just an act of bravery, it's an act of humanity. Injustice may thrive in darkness, but even a small light can drive it away. You don't need to change the world in a single act, but by choosing to speak up, you take a stand that has the power to ripple outward, creating a world that's just a little bit brighter for 2. When your boundaries are being crossed. Everyone's situation. 2. When your boundaries are being crossed, boundaries are not just personal preferences. They are the invisible lines that define respect, trust, and integrity in any relationship. When someone crosses those lines, remaining silent sends a dangerous message that your limits are negotiable, that your comfort and dignity are secondary to their desires. The Stoics teach us to honor our own values and not let external for ease dictate our sense of self. As Epictetus said, "No one is free who is not master of himself." Defending your boundaries is not an act of hostility but an act of self-respect, and it is a lesson in teaching others how to treat you. I once had a relative who consistently borrowed money without returning it, always accompanied by heartfelt promises to pay me back soon. At first I rationalized their behavior, convincing myself that helping family was my duty. But over time their requests became more frequent and the amounts grew larger. I began to feel resentment, not just because of the financial burden, but because I realized they were taking advantage of my kindness. Finally, after yet another request, I decided to confront the issue. I explained that while I cared about them deeply, I could no longer lend them money without accountability. I set a clear boundary, stating that I was willing to help in other ways, but not financially. They were hurt and defensive at first, but eventually they acknowledged my perspective. It was not an easy conversation, but it allowed me to protect my financial stability and preserve our relationship on healthier terms. This situation revealed a profound truth. Failing to enforce boundaries can lead to exploitation and fractured relationships. When we allow others to repeatedly cross our lines, we compromise not only our principles, but also the foundation of mutual respect. Stoicism reminds us that we are responsible for how we allow others to treat us. Setting boundaries is not about rejecting others, but about affirming your self-worth and demanding that interaction be built on fairness and respect. The way you communicate your boundaries is crucial. Deliver your message with firmness, but also empathy, ensuring that your intentions are clear without being confrontational. Explain how the behavior impacts you and outline the changes you need to see this approach. Fosters understanding and avoids unnecessary conflict, allowing both parties to move forward with clarity and in mutual respect. Boundaries are not about shutting people out, they are about protecting what matters most to you. By speaking up, when your boundaries are crossed, you send a powerful message. You value yourself and expect others to do the same. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Instead of harboring bitterness or avoiding the issue, respond with confidence and integrity in doing so. You not only safeguard your own well-being, but also create healthier, more respectful relationships where trust and understanding can truly flourish. 3. When honesty is needed to uphold integrity. When honesty is needed to uphold integrity, honesty is the backbone of integrity. Yet in moments of discomfort, it's often the first thing we sacrifice. Staying silent when the truth is needed isn't just avoiding conflict, it's actively compromising your own principles. Stoic philosophy places immense value on living in alignment with virtue, and honesty is a cornerstone of that alignment. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." But what about when silence becomes the lie? When withholding the truth allows deception or harm to persist? Silence becomes a trail, not just of others but of yourself. I once faced a moment in my career that tested my commitment to honesty during a team meeting. A superior presented a report with glaring inaccuracies. The errors weren't intentional, but they painted a misleading picture that could have significant consequences. Everyone in the room noticed, but no one spoke up. I could feel the weight of silence pressing down each second, making it harder to act. My instinct was to stay quiet, to avoid confrontation, to let someone else handle it. But I knew that if I didn't speak, the report would go unchallenged and my silence would make me complicit. Summoning my courage, I pointed out the errors carefully and respectfully. The reaction was tense, but ultimately the team corrected the mistakes and the project moved forward with integrity and tact. That experience taught me that honesty, while uncomfortable in the moment, is what upholds the long-term trust and respect of those around you. Stoicism reminds us that courage and honesty are intertwined. To be honest when it's easy is no great feat. To be honest when it's difficult is a true measure of character. People respect those who are willing to stand in the light of truth even when it casts uncomfortable shadows. But honesty doesn't mean brutal candor or unnecessary harshness. It means having the courage to say what is necessary with compassion and respect. It's not about exposing others for the sake of self-righteousness. It's about fostering clarity and authenticity. When you choose honesty, you set a standard for yourself and those around you. You create an environment where integrity thrives and deceit withers. So the next time you face a situation where the truth is at stake, remember this: your silence may preserve temporary harmony, but it will erode the foundation of trust over time. Upholding honesty is not always about winning arguments or proving a point. It's about staying true to yourself and what you stand for in a world where truth is often blurred by convenience and fear. Your commitment to honesty can be a guiding light, both for yourself and for others, as the Stoics teach. Living virtuously isn't always easy, but it is always worth it. Speak up when the truth is needed, and let your honesty be the foundation of your integrity. 4. When a mistake needs correction. Correction mistakes left unaddressed have a way of growing into larger problems like cracks in a dam. They may seem small at first, but can eventually cause catastrophic failure. Correcting a mistake isn't about pointing fingers or assigning blame. It's about preserving the integrity of the whole Stoic philosophy. Teaches us the importance of courage and accountability, especially in situations where staying silent might seem more convenient. Marcus or I reminds us what stands in the way becomes the way in the context of mistakes. This means that addressing errors directly is not an obstacle, but the path to progress. There was a time early in my career when a critical error was overlooked during a team presentation. It was a minor detail in the moment, a miscalculation on a report that seemed insignificant, but I realized that if left uncorrected, it could lead to a series of faulty decisions. I hesitated after all. The mistake wasn't mine, and bringing it up could embarrass the person responsible. But as the Stoics often emphasize, it's not about the individual, it's about the greater good. Summoning my resolve, I interrupted the discussion and pointed out the error. The room grew quiet, and I could feel the tension yet. Rather than creating conflict, addressing the issue led to a productive discussion that prevented a costly misstep down the road. This experience taught me that correcting mistakes isn't about criticism, it's about accountability. Stoicism underscores that courage is not just physical bravery, but the willingness to act morally and ethically, even when it's uncomfortable. When you correct a mistake, you're not just protecting the immediate outcome, you're setting a precedent for honesty and vigilance within your community. The key to handling mistakes lies in your approach. Address the issue with respect. Focus on solutions rather than faults, and ensure that your intention is to improve, not to belittle. By doing so, you create an environment where mistakes are not feared, but embraced as opportunities for growth. Ignoring a mistake for the sake of harmony is a disservice to everyone involved, and it often leads to larger consequences down the line. Remember, correcting a mistake doesn't make you a troublemaker. It makes you a steward of truth and progress. As Epictetus advised, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The same principle applies here. How you address mistakes reflects your character. Speak up when you see an error, not to assign blame, but to ensure that the collective goal remains untarnished. In doing so, you align yourself with virtue and build trust with those around you, fostering an environment of integrity and excellence. 5. When your expertise can help others. 5. When your expertise can help others, knowledge is not just a personal asset, it is a responsibility. When you possess expertise that can ease someone's burden, solve a problem, or offer clarity in a difficult situation, staying silent is a disservice not only to them but also to yourself. The Stoics believed deeply in the concept of shared humanity. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." Your knowledge is a tool meant to serve the greater good, not a trophy to be kept on a shelf. I recall a moment when a closer acquaintance was grappling with overwhelming grief after losing a loved one. As someone who had navigated similar waters after my own personal loss, I recognized the signs of emotional isolation and despair in their behavior, yet I hesitated to share my experience, worrying I might say the wrong thing, or that my words would come across as intrusive. But as the days went on and their silence grew heavier, I realized my hesitation wasn't protecting them. It was abandoning them in their pain. One evening, I decided to reach out and simply said, "I know this pain is hard to carry alone. I've been there. If it helps, I'd love to share what helped me." That simple offer opened the floodgates of a conversation they desperately needed, and over time my insights became a source of comfort and guidance. Your experiences, particularly the painful ones, hold the potential to guide others through similar struggles. Whether it's offering a listening ear to someone facing a health crisis, providing financial advice to a friend in debt, or sharing your journey of recovery from addiction, your expertise can be a lifeline. The key is to approach with humility and sensitivity, never assuming you have all the answers, but showing you care enough to try a thoughtful phrase like, "I've been through something similar, would you like to hear what worked for me?" can create a safe space for dialogue. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. You cannot erase another person's pain or guarantee they will embrace your help, but you can control the intention behind your actions. Offer your expertise, not for validation or applause, but because it reflects your commitment to making a positive impact. This choice strengthens relationships and fosters trust. Remaining silent when your knowledge or experience could ease someone's suffering is not humility. It is withholding a lifeline. As Epictetus emphasized, don't explain your philosophy, embody. It's sharing what you've learned through your struggles is a profound act of service, one that not only uplifts others but deepens your own sense of purpose. I would love to hear about your experiences. Please hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment below to share your story, your successes, and even the challenges you've overcome. If you're not sure what to comment, just write, "I can do it," to show that you've completed this session. Your engagement helps this community grow toward wisdom and the art of turning every challenge into an opportunity. I'll leave 2 more videos here so you can continue learning and growing on your personal development journey. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.